everybody, and welcome back to Think Country's Talking Country. We're back this week. My name's Lorna. I'm over here in the UK, and I've got Patti with me over in Nashville. And then we're very happy today to welcome our guest, hot off the heels of his new EP that was out last month, Bennett Road. We've got Drew Henderson. Hello, Drew.
How's it going?
Yeah, good. How are you? What have you been up to?
It's same old, really. I mean, probably what everybody else has been doing is just doing a bunch of solo writes. I co-write a little bit. I write a little bit with Ben Miller right now, but I mean, other than that, it's a bunch of solo writes and just trying to get out new music.
Yeah, exactly. Just plugging away at it. Well, we've got lots of questions for you a little bit later on, and we're really excited to hear you perform for us as well. But first of all, Patti, tell us what's been happening in the world of country music that you've been interested in this week.
Oh, goodness. There's a lot, but, there's only so much time, as you know. So last night at the stroke of midnight, I tuned into the new Kree Harrison album, which is Chosen Family Tree. And, that is just, it's a great album all the way around. Kree is a American Idol alumni. I'm not quite sure how that works. There goes all my credibility on writing because I don't know how that goes. But anyway, she was a runner-up in season 12 on American Idol, and her voice, it goes without saying, is absolutely wonderful. But what really makes this album work is the combination of her gorgeous vocals along with the incredible instrumentation. There is a load of steel. If you like steel, oh my goodness, this album you are going to embrace just as I did last night, and I had it in my ears all night long. My little earbuds were just on fire with Kree Harrison. And what else makes it great is she has like the A-list of writers on this album. Kree has 2 credits to her name on the album, but she has, oh goodness, let's look at the laundry list here for a moment. She's got Chris and Morgan Stapleton, and she has Claire Dunn and Sarah Buxton, Haley Witters. I mean, she has some biggies that wrote some songs on this, so definitely check that one out. But what really, really got me going this morning, is I started listening to the new Josh Turner album, which is Country State of Mind. And anybody that loves Josh Turner, you're going to love him even more. You're going to want to marry him. I don't know if that's possible in every state, but definitely look into it because this album is delicious. It is a chock full of classic country covers and collaborations, and there are some great ones on there. I mean, he's got collaborations with Maddie and Tay, Chris Christopherson, John Anderson, Runaway June, Randy Travis. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. And if you like, there's a Keith Whitley cover in there. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. And gosh, even my husband, who's got his country loves, but he's a metalhead. Even he and I were rocking out in the truck to a little bit of Josh Turner this morning. So definitely check that out. And the other thing to note about that is that it was produced by Kenny Greenberg, who is the guitarist extraordinaire for Kenny Chesney and is on numerous sessions. He's a tall, skinny, bald guy with glasses. If you see him once, you never forget that face, and you never definitely forget his guitar skills because he's a virtuoso. So with that, Lorna, what have you been listening to?
Amazing. Well, today I've been all about Tim McGraw for me. So his 16 studio album, I mean, my goodness, and 16 tracks, so it's a biggie. That Here on Earth is out today. And I'd say if you're a Tim McGraw fan, this is like putting on a really lovely warm old blanket, because there's a lot in there that you're going to be quite familiar with, and it's fairly predictable, but in a really good way. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And this is produced by Byron Gallimore. He's back with Big Machine Records, and some of the writers on there, the Warren brothers, Amy Mayo. I mean, you've been cutting tracks from them for years, but it's brilliant. And I think it's probably a culmination of a lot of what we've heard from him so far. But there's some really new stuff on there as well, which makes it a real pleasure to listen to. And he's spoken about this as being little snapshots of human emotion. And I think it really is that. And it takes you on a real journey through those 16 tracks. I think some of the standout ones are probably the ones that we've heard so far. I Called Mama, Good Taste in Women, but there's some really sweet new tracks on there as well. So Not From California, Damn Sure Do, and Hard to Stay Mad At, which Rory McKennan's one of the co-writers on. Really worth listening to as well. I mean, he's just such an old timer. It's always just such a pleasure to get a new album from him. I mean, it does raise a smile for me on one of those tracks, 7500 OBO, where he sings about singing along to Where the Green Grass Grows. And if you're singing about your own songs, I think you're obviously turning into a bit of a legend, and he really is. So definitely worth listening to. But Drew, tell us a little bit about what you like listening to and the kind of artists that you're playing at the moment.
You know, what I've been listening to right now, I mean, I listen to a lot of Hardy, and as far as like current artists right now, Hardy is a guy that I listen to a lot. And speaking of the whole, like the Josh Turner thing, where some of these artists are kind of doing these covers of older songs, Trey Landon is also doing that as well. He released, I think, it's a Keith Whitley tune today, and Trey's got the voice for that type of music. I mean, I look up to those guys like Hardy and Trey Landon. But I mean, you know, I still listen to a lot of throwbacks too. You know, as far as like in that song of mine, the Bring Back the 90s, I mentioned Joe Diffie, Tim McGraw. I mean, I listen to a lot of older stuff, but you know, I still listen to stuff like John Party. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm an old head. I mean, I'm only 27 years old, but people are surprised when I'm like a 90s country buff. But
people are surprised when you say you're 27. I just saying my own personal experience. When you told me you're 27, I'm like, yeah, right, okay. Are you trying to get into some different kind of military where you got to be older? I don't know, because you.
Hey, I'm glad I look younger, you know.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's a good thing.
That'll work out down the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your voice, you've got such a kind of rich old country voice. Actually, it's absolutely beautiful. Where do you think that voice comes from? Is it from, you know, were your family really into music? Where did you pick up a voice like that?
My grandfather played a lot of bluegrass growing up, and my uncle he's an avid guitar player as well. But they were, you know, he was into like John Mellencamp and a lot of like Southern rock and stuff like that. So I got a lot of Southern rock roots. I didn't really get into bluegrass that much, but I did grow up. When I first started playing guitar, that's what I learned on was bluegrass. So, but my dad, my dad likes to think he can sing, and that's where I get it from. But I always shoot.
So we need to hear that sometime. Okay, we need video of Dad singing so we can make some comparisons. Okay, just make a note of that somewhere in your.
Well, apparently a lot of people think that I am him these days. I guess I look a lot like what he did when he was my age.
He must have been a very good-looking man.
Well, I'll let him know you said that. All
right, you do that. And we have some questions that some of your fans had actually asked for in your fan group. So do you mind if I shoot one of those out at you?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, let's see. Let's take one from Mickey Jacobs Honeycutt. She wants to know if you plan to do any hometown concerts soon.
We
know how this goes, but
yeah.
Anything small, little?
Not at least not this year yet. Just with everything going on, I mean, it's hard to. At one time, we were trying to get something together, but you know, everybody's trying to kind of scrape and scratch as far as money goes, and so we just haven't got that really figured out. Because I mean, you know, you're not going to get a whole lot of Nashville-based guys right now unless you have a guaranteed rate.
Oh, yeah, I hear that.
It's been rough trying to schedule stuff.
Yeah. And then, let's see, I'll take another one and I'll let Lorna ask you a few. How about this one? Where do you get your inspiration from some of your songs? Like, where do you go for it? And that one actually came from Chris Addison.
You know, I mean, really, it's all just kind of from my past experiences. The Bring Back the 90s song that's just my love of 90s music. A lot of people think that I'm like trying to bring back that entire genre and like let it take over country again. That's not the case. I mean, I am a huge 90s advocate, but I love all kinds of music. But, you know, as far as that whole thing goes, there still should be a place for that era of music in today's industry. That's more so why I did that song.
And it's a great song. Everybody needs to hear it if they have not yet. What's the name of it? Go ahead, throw it out there for us.
Bring Back the 90s.
It's a great song. Go ahead, Lorna, what do you got?
And I guess one of the other questions that your fans were asking were, if you could, or in terms of your big aspirations, if you could go on tour with anybody, we're talking about smaller hometown concerts there, but if you could go on tour with anybody, who would it be? Who would you really love to go out with?
That's hard. Again, probably somebody like Hardy, John Party. I mean, just the guys of like, you know, just Justin Moore. I mean, I could just keep throwing a lot of names out there. I'd love to do a show with Trey.
Yeah.
I could go on and on, honestly.
There's just so many great people out there.
Riley Green, I mean,
yeah.
That's also somebody that I listen to on a daily basis. So,
which is a good thing, right? In light of the latest news, you did say Riley Green, right? Because it sounded like it cut out for half a minute.
Yes, I did say Riley Green.
Okay, can I take it for a second here?
Yeah.
For anybody that doesn't know, now Drew's got quite a following. Let me explain something for anybody that's not aware of the Drew Henderson. It's becoming kind of like its own little tribe, which is not so little anymore. How I came to know who Drew was and how Think Country got introduced to Drew. A year ago actually, I interviewed a guy named Ben Miller. And if you're unfamiliar with Ben Miller is like a Kenny Greenberg in terms of he's a great guitar player and he is fantastic. He was Riley Green, and let's just step aside for a second and say, congratulations, Riley Green, on winning your ACM for New Artist of the Year, along with Tennille Townes. But Ben Miller was Riley Green's guitar player at the time that I interviewed him about a year ago. And that is how I got to know Ben Miller. Great, wonderful guy. Fast forward about almost a year, I get a message from Ben Miller that says, hey, guess what? I'm producing a guy named Drew Henderson, and would you want to interview him? Okay, sure. Well, that's how I know Drew Henderson. Well, fast forward, I did the interview, and Ben and I had talked a little bit while I did the interview with Drew about starting a fan page on Facebook for Drew. And you want to talk about something that grows. It grew faster than mold in Tennessee weather, okay? It was so fast. I started it one night with me. I was the member of the Drew Henderson fan page. And within 2 weeks, I don't remember if we had over, I think we had 2,000 people, which is insane for a fan page. It's insane. And it continues to grow all the time. And why? Because Drew Henderson put out his Bennett Road EP, which is absolutely spectacular. It's spectacular.
Thank you.
And because Drew Henderson is less than 6 degrees of separation from Riley Green, who just won an ACM because via the Ben Miller connection, and because Drew is extremely talented, just like Riley and just like Ben, I just feel like there's good karma going on here. And I feel like there's good things in the air, and his following is so strong already that it's, keep your eye on the guy right there with the yellow shirt and the big DH behind him, because it's gonna be something. And I don't just predict that, you know, because I want to sound like I'm saying nice things. I'm saying it because I believe it.
I appreciate that a lot. Speaking of this, I would be in a different area where I usually do these types of things, but my girlfriend, she's working from home right now, and she has that area completely occupied. So
The girl always wins, just so you know.
Yeah.
No, exactly. And tell us, Drew, because you've only been in Nashville for just over a year and a half. Is that right?
Right. So let's see. December 28th, 2018. So pretty much very beginning of 2019 is when I moved out here. So.
Well, I guess in some ways, do you feel like a relative newcomer, or does it feel like you never lived anywhere else at this point?
You know, I mean, when I moved out here and started getting into the scene a little bit, it all just felt, normal. But I mean, I still think that, obviously I'm considered pretty new. I mean, you have people that come out here, they don't call it a 10-year town for nothing. But I've been very fortunate to have met the people that I have met, and like Ben has been an absolute workhorse for me, and for somebody like that to believe in everything that I'm doing and everything that I have envisioned for my career, it's been a blessing. So
he's a good one. He is one of the good ones.
He is.
And tell us, so your EP Bennett Road, we'd love you to play a song for us off that EP. But tell us a little bit more first about how that EP came about, and maybe then you could play us one of your favourite tracks off the EP.
Yeah, right. So how we went about picking the songs, there really was no mojo about doing that. I just pretty much presented Ben with my catalog of music, and we just kind of picked 5 songs that would kind of fit one storyline. One song on there, Pickup Truck, that song is actually, that song's almost 10 years old, if not a little over 10 years old. Bennett Road, obviously, that's the title of the EP. That song right there is probably the most personal song that I've ever written. It's straight up just about home, about how I grew up. Little Boy Like Me, I actually wrote in Nashville about 6 months after I moved here with 2 of my buddies, Justin Anderson and Tyler Hammond. And that's one of my favorite ones to play, and that's the first one I'm gonna play for you guys. And then Nothing on You. That song was written about my now girlfriend. That song took me probably 30 minutes to write. You know how that goes with the love songs.
Mm-hmm.
And Bring Back the 90s. Bring Back the 90s was one of my quarantine songs that I wrote during quarantine. And it was another one that I wrote probably within 30, 45 minutes, just because, I had the thought and it just kind of boom. And then I texted it to Ben and he was like, that's going on the EP. So that one got chose pretty quick. But yeah, there was no really right or wrong way that we did it. We just kind of, because we had all this time during quarantines, and a lot of people are rightfully down about this whole quarantine thing, but I've kind of looked at it as, it's been a blessing as far as me being able to get everything that I've been able to get done, and Ben fortunately had the time to do all of this. So, and then we got done with it, and then after we got done with everything, within 3 weeks, we ended up putting it out. And right now, I think we're just under 50,000 streams altogether within 5 weeks. So that's
incredible. And what was the release date again?
It was July 17th.
July 17th. And we are now only at August 20. Well, it's going to be 22nd that this airs. That's pretty darn good for a guy was, for the most part, a relative unknown as far as everybody except for your home base. And your name it's making waves. Let me just say this in a really, really cryptic way. I know from just my few travels, being quarantined, I'm not traveling around too much around town, but in my few travels around town, Ben's name's getting mentioned.
That's awesome.
Or not Ben's, I should say Drew's Ben's name always gets mentioned. Never mind. Drew's name's getting And it's not by, the janitor, at McDonald's. It's some other people are talking about him.
Yeah.
So,
and that's awesome to hear, but with a lot of people that come out here, I think that they get that, and then they kind of stop their go. For me, like I've just been trying to keep that the work's never done type attitude, and just keep doing what I'm doing, because if you lose your momentum, sometimes that's one of the worst things that can happen. So I'm trying to just keep working and working and working as much as I can to put
do it.
Fans.
Yeah, that's great. So what are you going to play for us?
I'm going to play. Let me get this good old guitar out here. I'm going to play "Good Old Boy Like Me." That seemed to be a lot of people's favorite one. I got a lot of comments about it. It sounded like early 2000s type country. And Ben did a great job with this one as far as the production goes on that EP. Acoustic version sounds a little different, but it's all the same. But this is "Good Old Boy Like Me." If you see a tractor parked down in a hayfield, Grandma cooking up a Sunday meal, rope swing on a bank tied to a tree, and you might run up on a good old boy like me. If you see a tailgate round a fire on Friday night, and old 6-string sitting pretty on neon lights, and red, white, and blue flying high and setting free, and you might run up on a good old boy like me. 'Cause we like to drink beer, raise hell, blow in the back pew when the church bell rings, to the preacher asking Jesus to save our souls. We say yes sir, no ma'am, like to stick to our guns and our own land. Sing a little Hank 'cause we don't feel cold, and what you get is what you see, with a good old boy like me. If you see a jumbo with an heavy root on the back, you know Zebco really need a large mouth bass, an old ball cap t-shirt and pink jeans, and you might run up on a good old boy like me. 'Cause we like to drink beer, raise hell, blow in the back pew when the church bell rings, to the preacher asking Jesus to save our souls. And we say yes sir, no ma'am, like to stick to our guns in our own land. Sing a little Hank 'cause we don't feel cold, and what you get is what you see, with a good old boy like me. And we like to drink beer, raise hell, bubble in the back pew when the church bell rings, to the preacher asking Jesus to save our souls. And we say yes sir, no ma'am, like to stick to our guns and our own land. Man, sing a little Hank 'cause we don't feel cold, and what you get is what you see, it's how it'll always be, with a good old boy like me. A good old boy like me.
That was absolutely brilliant. Hey, what a voice you've got. Absolutely fantastic. Cool. And do you know what, Drew? We've got time for one more. If you want to play one more track for us.
Yeah, sure. I'll do Bring Back the 90s. That's kind of been my my big wave as far as streams on Spotify and everything everywhere else. So I'll go ahead and do that one.
Good for it.
Please do.
Bring Back the 90s. If I could, I'd get a time machine, put us all in it, back to a different scene, take us to a place where country music fit the face, when they had a business in the front, a party in the back. Bring back the 90s, Joe, Dizzy, and McGraw, dust on the bottle, and watermelon and cross. Break out the fiddle and steel guitar, light it up with some neon in a smoky bar. Now just hold on, I like all kind of music. That neon mug gets different when I'm cruising. Yeah, they got a song for damn near everything. And when I need to, yeah, I can kill the pain. So bring back the 90s, Joe, Dizzy, and McGraw, dust on the bottle and watermelon cross. Break out the fiddle and a steel guitar, light it up with some neon in a smoky bar. Now you know my plan, we just gotta pull through and hop on this 90s train, y'all. Bring a friend or two, yeah. So bring back the 90s, George Strait and Kershaw. Well, corn don't grow, the time marches on. Break out the fiddle and a steel guitar, light it up with some neon in a smoky bar. Light it up with some neon in a smoky bar.
Woo!
Amazing, amazing.
That one's fun to play all the time too, so.
Well, thank you so much. That's all we've got time for today, but it's been an absolute pleasure hearing you sing and change you. So thank you so much for joining us, Drew. And we think we'll be back with more Talking Country soon. Thank you. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.